What's going on, people? It's your boy BSG. I'm going to address this to the stock people who put their trust in stocks, people who are laughing and poking fun at the crypto market right now. See, we told you so. See, I told you that stuff was a scam and all of that. Specifically, I'm going to address this to somebody who I do respect. That's Warren Buffett. So, Mr. Buffett, I hope this gets to you. I hope that you take these words to heart because I'm specifically, addressing your recent comments about Bitcoin. Unfortunately, how little you know about crypto, and really, unfortunately, how much you really understand about money and the economy. Others might say, well, how can you say that to Warren Buffett? He's one of the greatest money managers of all time and all that, which is true. But if you say that you wouldn't take all the world's Bitcoin for $25, that's one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard anybody say. And that's, coming from someone like you, Mr. Buffett. You are well respected and your words matter. So let's just talk about, stocks versus crypto and, which one is more legit and all of that. All right. So the idea behind stocks is you own a piece of the company. Okay. The company makes a profit, right? And you, as a shareholder, you earn a percentage of that company, which means you earn a percentage of that profit. Probably, and this I don't know because I haven't studied stocks in years, but I do know that one of the most profitable companies probably is still Apple. They have billions in cash, and they are a profitable company. Okay, they're one of the best companies in the world. From a stock standpoint, capitalist standpoint, money generating, that type of thing. Every company aspires to be like Apple. For Apple, I think the PE ratio is 17 right now. Now, what is the PE ratio? PE ratio is price to earnings. That means how much is the stock, and for the price that you're paying in the stock for every dollar, how much are you getting back? I think they're around 17, which is one of the most, undervalued companies on the stock market. All right, so let me tell you what that means. Theoretically, you should be able to go and you own one share of Apple. You should be able to go to Apple and redeem your share. Now, I'm going to tell you flat out, you can't do that. Okay? You can't. So the shares that you own, you can't redeem them for anything. Worse, if you could, you wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to. Apple being one of the most undervalued companies in the world, their PE ratio is 17. That means you are paying $17 for every dollar that Apple earns. You're paying 17 for every dollar they earn. Specifically, having a share of Apple, which I don't know what Apple shares are right now, 130, 40, 50, I don't know. Okay? If you were to take that share, you would not be able to go to Apple and take that one stock worth $150 and get back $150. You will only be able to get back, because I can't be on here, I don't be on here making stuff up. All right. I thought so. I didn't want to say, but I thought so. Okay. Apple's earning per share is $1.52 this past quarter. Okay. So let's just say they hit that $1.52 every quarter. It might go up, whatever. In fact, let's just say $10. So Right now, for every share of Apple, which is about 150 bucks, you will actually be able to claim, let's just say, 10 bucks. So if you were able to go to Cupertino and go to Apple headquarters, which you cannot, and redeem the shares, which you cannot, I'm telling you wouldn't want to, because I don't think most people want to take $150 and go somewhere and redeem it for $10. But every time you buy Apple, that's what you're doing. There are other companies like Amazon where their PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, is 100 or more. 100 or more. So that means for every dollar the company makes, you're paying hundreds of dollars. Okay. Ain't no scary. He's super big. Okay, good. No, he was huge. Oh, I still had the video running. I'm gonna leave that in there too. I'm outside, man. That big old Apple sent a digital bee after me. That's what it was. A digital bee. That thing was huge, man. I don't play. You know, Amazon and other tech companies, if they have earnings, they have a PE ratio of 100 or more, okay? Now, watch this. You're supposed to own a piece of the company, right? You're supposed to own a piece of the company. That's what it's about. That's what it says. Well, what happens when the company doesn't have earnings? Some of these companies are in debt. Many of these companies are in debt. They don't make any money. But yet there's still a stock, and you're still told as a stockholder to buy shares of a company that doesn't have earnings. So literally the company's in debt. The company doesn't make any money. And their shares will still be in the hundreds of dollars, even though they don't make any money. Many times those companies are valued higher than companies that actually make money. So, Mr. Buffett, for you to come out and say, hey, Bitcoin ain't worth nothing. You couldn't give me all the world's Bitcoin for $25. Well, sir, respectfully, shares are worthless. It's a Ponzi. Who wants to pay 100 times, 150 times what the company is worth if they have earnings? Now, let's take it a step further. All of my shares, they are all a part of one system. They're a part of the New York Stock Exchange, or they're a part of NASDAQ or Dow, something. They're a part of that system. And there are brokers that control all of the access to the supposed shares that I own. What does that mean, Mr. Buffett? That means that there is a single point of failure. Meaning, if my broker goes out of business, something happens to my broker, I lose my share. If something happens to the NASDAQ, I lose my shares. If the New York Stock Exchange is hacked, I lose my share. Has that ever happened before? Yes, it has. I don't have control of my share. I can't touch them. If something happens to the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, or whatever, there's not a secondary place that I can go and say, hey, I own 100 shares of Apple. You know, I know this place went down, but where are my shares? Like, you know, I need my shares. Do y'all still got them backup shares? There's not even insurance if something is lost. And yet there are trillions and trillions. Most of the world's money is in stocks. And literally, somebody could hack one system and destroy the entire system. So even Berkshire Hathaway shares, if something happens to one of the systems, just one, where people have their Berkshire shares stored somewhere, they can't come to you, Mr. Buck, correct me if I'm wrong, they can't come to you and you say, okay, here are your shares. We kept a digital record of your shares that's immutable, that can't be edited, or anything like that. Do you have that, sir? Please let me know, because I don't know of any other stock that does. Probably the most important point. Right now, I'm on vacation. I'm chilling. Okay, I could own 100 shares of Apple. I don't. I'm just saying. Let's say I did. Nothing that I do with my family on this vacation am I going to be able to pay with shares of Apple. I'm not going to be able to go to any restaurant, any cafe, anywhere. Okay, I just had an outstanding breakfast this morning. It was outstanding, man. They didn't take Apple shares. They don't have any system in place to do that. So you can have millions of dollars in shares. You can't buy a bag of chips with Apple shares, with Berkshire Hathaway shares. You can't take care of your family. You can't pay rent. You can't do anything but just look at the supposed made up shares that are on a computer somewhere that can be hacked by anybody at any time. But yet you're calling crypto a joke. Okay, so let's talk about crypto. Things have been going down for the past few days. I've never seen a week like this personally. Stuff just crashing, especially when there's no fundamentals for it. There's absolutely no fundamental reason for Bitcoin to be crashing like this. There is another crypto, which I'm not going to speak about in this video, that I frankly told people was a scam. I did not recommend it, even though I could have, even though we could have made money. At one time I feel like I should have recommended it just because, people want to make money with me. They're not necessarily concerned about fundamentals all the time, even though I teach people to be concerned about fundamentals. But I never understood it. And, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know crypto and I know basic economics, and it didn't make sense to me. So even though I had a chance to buy this early, I could have 10x'd on this. If I can't confidently tell you about something and explain it, then, and interestingly enough, I got that from Warren Buffett. I got that from you, Mr. Buffett. You say if you can't explain it on a piece of paper, don't invest in it. So I couldn't explain Luna on a piece of paper. I'm like, we're not going to touch it, okay? But Luna has nothing to do with Bitcoin. What Luna did, first of all, other companies have done. That's what the 2008 crisis was about. It's just called being over-leveraged. Over-leveraged mismanagement. It happens every day. It's happened several times with stocks, right? But in crypto, we don't need regulators and things like that to come in and shut something down. When you create a system and the system fails, it just fails. Other financial crises, usually you need the government to step in and say, hey, this is bad. Hey, this ain't working. We need to step in for the people. We don't have that, and that's what crypto is about. But it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. So even though the price of Bitcoin has fallen tremendously, guess what? All the Bitcoin that people own they're stored in ledgers. And there are thousands of computers around the world who have the record of that ledger of how many Bitcoin you own. But they don't know it's me. They don't know it's you. But if you put in the address, all of these computers will attest to you owning this. And it's immutable, it's irrefutable, it cannot be edited. It cannot be hacked. Bitcoin has never been hacked. The Bitcoin blockchain has never been hacked. Since inception, the Bitcoin blockchain has never been stopped. They just had to stop the Luna blockchain. They've had to stop the Solana blockchain, 7 or 8 or 9, or I lost count. The Bitcoin blockchain has never been stopped. Now, let's take things a step further. If I wanted to, down here in vacation. If I have the ability to buy things directly with Bitcoin, if I wanted to, there are things in place where I could, if I wanted to buy food with Bitcoin, I could. If I wanted to buy a hotel with Bitcoin, I could. If I wanted to buy plane tickets with Bitcoin, I could. Why? Because it has real value. And it crosses networks. It crosses government lines. I went to another country. The price of Bitcoin in one country is the same as it is in another country. It might be a different price relative to that local currency, but it's still one Bitcoin. So if something is 0.1 Bitcoin in one country, it's 0.1 Bitcoin in another country. Same price. You understand how powerful that is? And I own them. I have them right now. If I wanted to move something to somebody, I could do it right now. There's no limits. I had an issue recently trying to book something, and my bank wouldn't let me pay the amount of money, even though I had the money. My bank stopped me, caused all kind of trouble, stopped me from using my own money, from paying my own money. If I had used crypto for those transactions, there's no limit. You could send somebody $1 billion today, and it's going to cost the same as somebody sending $100 to somebody. And you have the audacity to say, if you had all the world's Bitcoin for $25, you wouldn't take. Are you serious right now? Do you understand the power of that network, Mr. Buffett? Just being able to not have your money controlled by a single entity. We haven't even got into that. All of the stocks are, in dollars, if we're talking about America, or they're in those local fiat currencies. But there's no finite number of fiat. So even though you paid $200 for those shares, $200 10 years ago is not the same as $200 now. So somebody is controlling the money supply, and all of your stocks are denominated in dollars, and dollars are losing value every single year, and you have the audacity to call crypto a scam. The people who are selling crypto right now, the people who are caught up in this, this FUD, this mania, don't really understand crypto. Many of them were not there for the right reasons in the first place. Most people who get into crypto just want to get into it because they want to make money. Oh, there's money to be made, I'm going to make it. And so that's why when we have crashes like this, generally speaking, those people go away.